Hi, everyone. I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about fasting. We know that fasting was happening in the Old Testament. We know it was happening when Jesus was on the earth teaching. We know that it was happening in the early church and that people were sacrificing a meal and intentionally spending time in prayer. And so we know that this is a practice for the Christian church, and we also know that it can be really difficult. But I want to invite you to think about what fast and pray days next week could like for you. I know that we've changed the definition of fasting a lot in our modern Christian experience. We can fast coffee, or we maybe would fast chocolate or fast Netflix or whatever, give up something in order to focus on prayer. And that's great, because I think the heart of things in fasting, really with any spiritual discipline, is that we want our hearts to be in the right place before the Lord, before anything else. It's not about the act of it necessarily, but it's always the heart of it. That's what Jesus teaches over and over and over again. So we're looking for something in our lives that we can set aside or give up in order to focus our attention and our time and our hearts on the Lord and be intentional specifically in prayer. But I want to encourage you. I was in the camp of, I can't fast. It's too hard for me. It really is so hard for me. And over the last few years, I've realized that it doesn't have to be a day or 3 days or 10 days or 40 days. It can be a meal to start with something small and be intentional about using that time for that meal to pray and to press into the Lord. And I'm going to tell you, it has opened things up for me in my spiritual life. It has really, really allowed me to hear God in new ways and to have direction that I hadn't had before. And so if you are in that camp where I have been, it says it's too hard for me, I'm going to do something else, that's great. Do whatever it is that is in your heart to do. But maybe as we prepare for next week as a church, for fast and pray days, think about what it is the Lord might be asking you to do. How could you fast in a way that would honor Him and get your heart really set in prayer in a new and incredible way? I want to say to you that on Sunday night, we are going to be having Deep Roots at 6 o'clock. You can be here in person. You can register for that, or you can join us on Facebook Live. And then right after that, we're going to jump on a Zoom call if you're not with us in person. And the people in person, of course, are going to join together. And we are going to lift up some prayer together as a church. And then that's going to launch us into our fast and pray days this week. That's coming up. And that's going to look like whatever it needs to look like. I want you to just be intentional. So if there's a day of the week that you can fast your lunch, or if there's a whole time that you're going to fast social media, or if there's something else that you're going to do in order to remove something from your calendar to replace it with intentional prayer, that will be amazing. And stay close to our social media feeds, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook next week, because we're going to lead you through some prayer too, some things that we want to together be praying about as a church. So it can look really individualized for you, but I want to remind you that in Scripture, it really is about the heart and what it is that the Lord is calling you to do. That's the first thing. And also challenge yourself. If you've never fasted at all, start with something that you think, okay, I think this would be a challenge for me, but I'm going to give this up and I'm going to pray instead. And don't let anything be a distraction. Don't let anything deter you from what you feel like that might be. Don't think that you can't do something. Let the Lord lead your heart, and let's together go into fast and pray days, ready to hear from the Lord, ready to press into Him, ready to call out to Him for our community, for our families, for our lives, and for what He wants to do in this church. Can't wait till next week.